focus on your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't do, because if you put your mind to it, basically anything is possible. So. My name is Joey Allen, or my artist's name is Joey Allen Creations. I was born in King, North Carolina. I live in Pilot Mountain, North Carolina, and I've been a full-time artist since 2014 now. So.
This is a random question. What's the baddest thing you've ever done as a kid?
As a kid, okay. I mean, I've gotten in a lot of trouble with my siblings as a kid. I'm trying to think of what I can say that wouldn't get me in too much trouble now. I don't know. I guess I've vandalized some things, and that kind of ties into why I'm into graffiti now.
That makes so much sense now. Like the one thing that's trouble now is like how you actually make the difference. That's pretty dope. What is the process for designing sculptures and murals?
Okay, there's two different processes for each of those, or I guess a different process for each of those. But for me, the process of doing a sculpture was I had to create like a 3D model on a computer through a program called Blender, and then from there I printed it with a 3D printer just to kind of see the scale and see what size I was working with. And then from there I tried to produce resin cast versions of it with a silicone mold. And from there, I worked with a partner to help me mass produce them, polished out and painted the way that I wanted. So there's a bunch of different routes that you can take depending on what material that you're trying to work with, whether it be resin or vinyl or metal even. But that's kind of the route that I took for the sculpture. As far as the murals go, first thing to do is kind of talk with the client, obviously fill out what they're looking for as far as design goes. And I try to stick to, somewhat of a structured design that screams Joey Allen Creations, but I typically take a picture of the wall, and then from there I'll design it up on my iPad, kind of mock up a version for them to see. And then when we get it to the finish line, I will do a doodle grid, which is basically like spraying a bunch of doodles all over the wall. I take a picture of that, and then the version that I've designed on my iPad, I will overlay those two, and then I can see kind of like where the lines or the design of everything needs to lay on the wall. So then I'll come in with a spray can and kind of sketch the design out, and then it's basically a coloring book from that point on.
So I did one in New York, and I felt like I was cheating a little bit because I used a projector. But it was like very, very like you needed like the straightest lines ever. So do you feel like using a projector is cheating?
Every artist has a different take on that. I feel like for me, I like to be able to do everything in-house, if that makes sense. I don't like to. I know I'm relying on a tablet, but if I can rely on the least amount of technology possible, then that's what I like to do. Now, there's no shame, in my opinion, on those who do use that, because typically they're sketching up something smaller scale, and then if you've done it, you can do it bigger. It's time consuming to have to do it, sketch it out small scale and then have to sketch it out large scale again. So a projector makes it a lot easier and faster for people that are doing it and don't have a lot of time.
How do you go about creating a work of art?
Honestly, I try to pull inspiration from every day. I spend a lot of time in nature, so I try to get my family out on hikes pretty often. And when we're out there, I'm just constantly looking at stuff, trying to pull inspiration or ideas for concept ideas. So really, it's just, I feel like I'm always working in here, just thinking of new ideas. So I don't have a rhyme or reason to how I go about it. I feel like it's just a constant thing.
So we hear that you are a new dad ×2. So congratulations.
Thank
do
you.
Your kids give you any inspiration for your art?
They do. They really do. Especially my oldest son, River. My youngest is he's actually 4 months today. So the inspiration from him is pretty contained, but my oldest is all over the place. And so when we're out in nature and stuff like that, it's fun for me to snap some pictures of him just to get inspiration for figure structure, the way that humans need to be positioned and things like that. So there's a lot of inspiration that comes from him.
And what inspired you initially when you were choosing to create your last sculpture, that piece?
I've always been kind of fascinated with nature, obviously, and for me, something that is universal is clouds, and there's something that we see every day but kind of overlook as well. So it's nice to be able to create a character that's based off of something that we find every day in nature that doesn't necessarily scream to the male or the female. So it's kind of something that I can run any direction with, if that makes sense. Here lately, I've been trying to think a little bit differently when creating art, especially since I've had my children. I'm trying to focus on like how I can do good with my art instead of just making money for myself with it. So I'm working on a project right now that's going to follow my cloud character Otto. Basically, it'll be a project that is basically a lot of nature-based artwork that follows wildlife. Profits from it will be donated to help preserve wildlife and nature and things like that. So that's kind of how I think about creating ways to help the planet or issues with our world. I'm working on finishing up a NFT project that I'm doing. It's 100 one-of-one pieces, and so I think we're at like 70 something of the 100. And along the way, there's some perks with it that some NFT holders will be getting some prizes here and there. And then I think we're doing a 35-foot mural of one of the NFTs as well. So a couple big things coming up, but there's always new things in the works. So.
Can you explain to our viewers what an NFT is?
Sure, I can try. It stands for non-fungible token. And so basically, once upon a time, all these digital artists didn't really have a way to sell their work or get paid for their work. And so now with blockchain technology, people can mint or create a piece of work on blockchain for a specific type of cryptocurrency. So for example, I have a collection which is on the Ethereum blockchain, so people can purchase my work with Ethereum crypto, and it's kind of nice as an artist because you get paid for the primary sale, but every secondary sale you get a percentage of that royalty as well. So it's kind of just like passive income when you're working on that type of stuff, and it allows you to be able to have funds to push other projects. It's essentially kind of like a certificate of authenticity for like a digital piece of work. So that's kind of the easiest way to break it down. There's a lot more to go into, but NFT for Dummies, there you go. I'm Joey Allen Creations. You guys can find my work at joeyallencreations.com or on social media at Joey Allen Creations.